that you want to share with others, right? So let's start with Sandy. Sandy, what is your favorite story and what is the message? You can give me the title of the story, but I would like more emphasis on the message so that it can be shared with our club members and benefit for them.
You're on mute, Sandy.
I loved your actions. Yeah.
I think in 3 small word strategies. And one of them that I'm working on for my book soon is called I'm Still Here. And the essence and the story of the book is about resilience and about to keep going. And the story that I most link to with that is when I turned 60, I decided that I was fit enough to hike the Grand Canyon, 7 miles down, 10 miles back. And I've never experienced being the weak link on a team. And I had to travel most of the way up, 110-degree temperatures. And I was the only one of the team without a pack, because I wouldn't have made the 10 miles out. And that story to me is about, like, literally and metaphorically climbing out and getting to the top and really feeling I'm still here.
Thank you very much, Sandy. Give a big round of applause. We'll be hearing a lot of stories from all our members and from our guest also. So to the guest also, just think of a story in your mind and the message that you would like to share. And let me tell you why I chose this theme. Before saying that, let me tell you what is my role today. And when Sandy said chair, I was thinking whether it's a president or the Toastmaster of the day, because we usually call TMOD or TMOE. And I was thinking, okay, it would be the Toastmaster of the day or the Toastmaster of the evening, but these confusions are good. As a Toastmaster of the day, my role is to make sure that I am introducing each and every role player to the screen. Think of me as an host, and every Toastmasters meeting, it's an advanced club, so everybody knows it's divided into better speaking, thinking, and better listening, which is speeches, table topics, and evaluation, right? And now let me come to the theme and why I chose this theme for today. Few days before, I was having a discussion with my friend. He started his entrepreneur journey after 21 years of working as a general manager for a company. He left the company and is now working on a startup, new project. And he told me something very interesting. He said, Vinod, nothing is sold until a story is told. We do not sell products or services. We just create good stories and make enough people believe in them. And I was fascinated by that idea. And I said, yes, I have been studying storytelling. You tell me the name of any book on storytelling, from The Hero's Journey, The Hero with 1,000 Faces from Joseph Campbell, to the latest, the Pixar, or any story book. I know, and I have read those books and listened to all the TED Talks. But what I like about stories is where philosophy, where logic, where science fails, stories score over there. Because people may not be interested in facts. People may not be interested in philosophy. But when you tell somebody a story, they are moved. Because stories, the main purpose of any story is to elicit emotion. And majority of the decision scientists who have studied how people make decision, they have said that people make decision emotionally and justify it rationally. So for as leaders and as a leadership club, I think for us, storytelling is one of the most important tool through which we can change our members' life. So if you see this on the dashboard of what Leadership Speaks is, it may show this many member, this belongs to this many, it belongs to so-and-so area, it belongs to so-and-so district. But when you ask the story of this club, then I would like this story to be told by Brahm. Brahm, can you please tell the story of this club under 1 minute? Because he is the right person to tell this.
Well, the story of this club is simply this, that I felt there was a missing gap in leadership development. And I've been in leadership development for many, many years, and in Toastmasters for 25 years, as a coach, of course, almost 28, 30 years. But I find in Toastmasters, there's one thing missing, and that is leadership development. There are specialized clubs that focus on speakers and communication and so on, but nobody's focusing on really what leadership is and how we can take it to the next level. Because in the pandemic, it was very clear that we could speak as much as we like and speak, with gestures and eye contact and everything, but a lot of clubs lost members. A lot of clubs disappeared because they didn't know the sort of leadership that they needed during crisis and the new leadership model that we really need in this decade. And so hence, I created Leadership Speak, and here we are.
Thank you very much, Brahm, for that story. And I know you're preparing for your speech, or else you would have been more emotional about it. Thank you very much and all the best for your speech. So the first role for today that is coming up would be for the toast. And during this meeting, to help me manage this meeting, I have my partner who will be helping me with this is the timer. And the timer for today is Toastmaster Luz. Toastmaster Luz, can you please share your story and your message, what you like?
My story, I love Greek stories, and also I like Aesop stories because of it has fables and it has a moral. I'm not sure if my camera is okay. If every story has a moral, and my favorite Greek story is the love story of Eros and Psyche. The moral of that story is that love cannot survive without trust.
Thank you. A big round of applause. Can you explain your role for today?
Yes, my role as a timer, obviously we have an agenda. The meeting have to start on time and finish on time, but also we have table topics and speeches. For the table topics, I'm gonna have, sorry, my cat is the green at 1 minute, yellow at 1 minute and 30 seconds, and red at 2 minutes. And the speeches are today 5 minutes to 7 minutes. So I'm gonna have the green at 5 minutes, yellow at 6 minutes, and red at 7 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Luz, for a very detailed explanation. And even if I am off track, please do let me know by private chat. I may go off track sometimes. It can happen. Thank you very much. Okay, so our first role player is going to give a toast. Please help me welcome Toastmaster Mariana Burka. Toastmaster Mariana Burka, unmute yourself. And before you give your toast, please share your story and the message.
Well, my story, just 2 days ago, my daughter came back from Florida after spending there for 5 months for the winter time. She was working there. And that was the first time we were separated, such a long time, over 4 months. And it was just so good to see her again. But then again, it's like we didn't miss a beat. She was just home all over again. And that was a wonderful feeling that when we have friends, even though we don't see them, sometimes years at a time, but when we meet again, we just continue where we stopped and before. And that's a sign of a good relationship. And about the toast, when I signed up.
So the screen is yours, and now you can start your toast.
So when I signed up, I went online and tried to find a special occasion that worth a toast. And I have to tell you, the toast runner-up to my choice was a National No Housework Day, because I think we deserve a no housework day once in a while. But what I like to propose a toast today is the World Health Day. And on my screen behind me, which was the day before yesterday. April 7 is the World Health Day, according to the World Health Organization. And all I would like to say regarding this, that we all want and wish for clean air and water and food for everyone, which is the basis of health. And I would like a world where every people have control over their health and they can contribute to the health of our planet. So please raise your glass for health.
Well,
Thank you very much. A big round of applause, everyone, for our toast master today, Mariana Burka. Thank you very much for that. And yes, World Health Organization, April 7th was the day for, and we should take care of our health. Thank you very much for that. Now, the next role. Now, before going into the next role, let me tell you a story. I'll use a story as a segue for some roles. So once there was a mom and she had a teenager son. So this son went to school and came back. And the mom asked, son, how was your school? The son says, awesome. In the evening, he goes to McDonald's, has some French fries. He comes back, mom asks, son, how did you enjoy your food? He says, awesome, mom. The next day, he had a party with his friends. So sleepover with the friends. So he goes to a sleepover, comes another morning, and the mom asks, Mom, son, how was your day? How was your night? Awesome, mom. Now, one day, this son is going to get older. He's going to fall in love with someone. He may be walking on a beach, holding someone's hand, looking at a sunset with 1,000 shades of orange. And when he goes back, and when his mom asks, son, how was your day? What will he say? Awesome. Is this what we have just become as a society for teenagers? That is where the role of grammarian and word master comes into play, and Toastmasters helps us build our functional and recognitional vocabulary. And in each meeting, we have this particular segment. And today, this segment would be taken by Toastmaster Shreyashi Karan. Toastmaster Shreyashi, can you explain the word of the day?
Yes.
Please put your hands
Thank
together
you.
for Toastmaster Shreyashi, everyone.
Thank you. The word of the day is charismatic, which is an adjective. The meaning is exercising a compelling charm, which inspires devotion in others. Examples would be, he was a charismatic figure with great appeal to the public. And number two, charismatic and well-informed, she could talk for hours on any topic. Now on to my role. Grammarians make no new thoughts, but thoughts make new grammar, said Dagobert D. Rooms, an author. So the better the grammar, the clearer the message, and there is more likelihood of understanding the message's intent and meaning. I will look into the good uses and not so good uses of the language today and take note of the number of times the word of the day has been said. I have also been entrusted with the duty of looking into the crutch and filler words like and, well, but, so, you know, etc. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Shreyashi. And you had told me a story. Please give the title and message of the story in your own words.
Okay. The story that I read quite long ago while I was in school is by, forgive the pronunciation, it's de Maupassant. Anyway, I read short stories of his. It was very easy language actually. And the one that really stood out was The Necklace. It's about a middle-aged housewife who's not satisfied with her means, her or what she has actually at that time. And she looks forward to having more all the time, never satisfied actually. So one day she had to go to a ball, attend a ball, and she borrowed a necklace from her friend. Nobody knows the worth of this necklace. But after coming back from the ball, she notices that the necklace is missing. So instead of asking the worth of the necklace, she abandons everything. She gives up her home, her life, and everything, and works towards getting a necklace, which is actually a pearl necklace, for 40,000 euro. But in actuality, when she noticed, when her friend tells her about it, it's only cost 500 francs or something. So there is a lot of dramatic and bitter irony in this story. The message would be to be satisfied with whatever you have and not keep on looking for more. Of course, this is purely about material goods. Thank you. Over
Thank
to
you.
you.
Thank you very much, Shreyashi, for that. So now let's jump into our session of speaking. And the first session would be from the leadership speak, what we have in this club specially. And before calling on the speaker, I would like to call on the evaluator, Toastmaster Peggy Unlock, to describe the purpose of the project. Toastmaster Peggy.
Thank you, Vinod. I have the privilege today of evaluating Brahm Memone's leadership talk today, and he will be doing a presentation from his strategic relationships pathway, I believe, and it's understanding your leadership style. Now, the understanding your leadership style is an overview of all of the different types of leadership styles. So Brahm's objective would be to understand those leadership styles, give us a presentation or a story on that of his choice, and hopefully he'll give us some idea of what his most preferred leadership style is as well. And I believe it's a 5 to 7 minute speech. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
I believe it's 10, 12, and 15, right, Brahm?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
It's
So
an
for the
educational
timer, so the timer, please note the green would be on 10, the amber or yellow would be 12, and red on 15. So with this, I would like to invite our speaker, Brahm. The screen is all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. What is the secret sauce of success? Now you may ask me, at Toastmasters, there's never been a secret sauce of success. Is there one, really? And I would say, yes, indeed there is. There is a secret sauce of success in Toastmasters that we all need to master. And that is the one leadership trait that I'm going to talk about, which is my trait and which every Toastmaster ought to have, rather than give you all these different traits. This is the single most skill that one ought to have to succeed in Toastmasters. And what is that skill? Well, let's go into this presentation and you will soon learn what that is. And if you implement this, this is what will make leadership speak very successful. It will make your life very successful, all the organizations that you are in successful as well. Now, as you can see on your screen, that there is so many different squares and everyone is in a little tiny square. And do you know everyone that's in this tiny square right now? I mean, even if you're a member of this club, do you know all the other members of this club? If I were to tell you to point me out all the members. So we live in a very isolated world. We don't really know each other. That's what I mean. We don't really know each other, do we? I mean, okay, here's Sandy and here's Vinod and here's Tony. Maybe they are members, but do I really know them? Do I connect with them? Connect is the word. That's the secret sauce. And let's go into this mysterious world of connection and what it really means. And it is mysterious, you'll get it. You think you are connecting until you really look into what really connection is. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a pleasure to tell you that there's always a wall between our communication and how we can connect with people. Now, this wall prevents us from really engaging and creating results that are amazing and out of the box. See, this wall here stands in the way between communication and connection, because words keep flowing. We are always here, we are standing, we are speaking. 16,000 clubs across the globe. Everyone is, today or yesterday or this week stood up and spoke something, but did they really connect? And storytelling is all about really connecting with people. And hence today's theme is storytelling. But I'm not going to go into the storytelling aspect of it. I'm going to just be telling you how to connect and become a charismatic person, not a charismatic leader, as a person that has charisma, which means creating the rapport with other people. Now, let's look at connect. When you connect, what is possible? Well, what is possible is that you will be able to collaborate at an extremely different level, right? At an extremely high performing level. That's what connection is all about. It is the ability to create unprecedented outcomes and unprecedented strong teams, and that creates community. So connection really creates community. Connection really creates a club that is strong, that is playing on the world stage. And we are playing on the world stage right now because we have guests from all over the world. We have members from all over the world. So we have to create a strong community of people who are all over the world from all different types of clubs in this advanced club. And what does that mean? Is that we have to become high performers. Connection gives us the ability to perform, and it's high performing, which means we are very effective with each other and how we are not only communicating, but understanding each other. So now here's two things that we tend to do. And the first one is the most prominent and prevalent way of looking at people immediately when we meet somebody. And it is that we tend to sort of diminish who the person is in front of us, or we see what's there. We judge the book by its cover. But as you know, we should never judge the book by its cover. So what happens when we judge a book by its cover is we're suppressing what's beyond the cover. It's never sort of discovered. You just look at the book and you put it away and say, And this is all about really, you hold a certain position, you hold a certain point of view. It's called positioning. Now, the other way to look is, who can this person become? What's beyond the cover? What's underneath the person? What's really going on with this person? Do they have a potential? Can they be the highest expression of who they really are? And that is all about serving with great eminence. When you serve with great eminence, you are really honoring who that person is, who that person is beyond the cover, what you see physically there, your judgments, your prejudices, and everything that's subconscious, of course. So from diminishing to who they can become. Most of the time, this is what we tend to do. It's just human psychology, really, that this is what we tend to do because we have not been trained to do this. So what we are trained to and what we are exposed to is what we will do. Okay. And the reason is that the brain is a survival mechanism. This thing here is first and foremost not a thriving or a transformative mechanism. It's a survival mechanism. And we tend to harp on weaknesses more than we trump up strengths of anybody. That's the first thing that our unconscious minds does. And if you're not trained, even though peripherally we think that, we are saying nice things about people and so on, we are not really discovering that person in front of us and who they really are and the strengths and what really lies underneath their potential and their effectiveness and who they can really become. So always make sure that the person that you see in front of you, don't look at them as what they seem to be, but who they can become. And that is only possible if you yourself have a vision about you and you are self-directed and you know where what your potential is and that you can reach your own potential, which is endless, of course, as you know. Right? So, ladies and gentlemen, let's start building on the strength and the courage of a person. Our job is not to prey on someone's weakest points, but to find their strong points and to build them into overshadowing pillars of strength and courage. And that is the way to build people, is to see who they really are under that cover. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, to serve with great eminence is to honor somebody's potential. When you honor somebody's potential and you know who they can become, that's when you start to serve with great eminence, because then now you know that there's something more that lies underneath that cover. And when you know there's something else that lies under that cover, then you're going to try and do your best to make sure that they reach that potential, right? It is what I call, I see you. When somebody's in front of you, when Vinod is in front of me, or when Mariana is in front of me, or Peggy, or anybody, or Forshi, I see you. When I say I see you, it means I really get to know what is beyond the cover. I see you. Brent, I see you. Tony, I see you. Strayashi, I see you. I really do. Luz, I see you. 007, I see you. Right? It means I'm beginning to understand what lies beyond the cover, beyond calling yourself 007, or beyond the name Brent, or beyond Peggy, and so on. I see you. And what is that potential? Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, do you see anybody? Do you really see somebody when they're in front of you? We ought to walk in people's dreams. Everyone has dreams, desires, and aspirations for greatness, and yet we are all sort of locked into a place by our experiences and the environment that we've grown in, and so on. So begin to see and walk in people's dreams. When people say, I have such a dream, then begin to understand what the dream is. It doesn't matter if somebody, who may be poor and even homeless, but says, I want to change the world. It's time to sort of walk in the dream and say, okay, that's a great aspiration. Let's see how you can do that. How do you measure that? And I was asked that question by Brent this week when I told him my goal. And he said, how would you measure that? And I told him how I would measure the goal. There's an external measurement for it, right? And so walk in people's dream and believe their dreams. They have dreams, aspirations, they have desires, they want to become more than who they really are. And at Toastmasters, it's a great opportunity to give everyone that honor and to serve with eminence. It's only when you serve with eminence that is possible to walk in somebody's dream and to understand where they're coming from. So let's take this, everyone has a box around them, right? Our comfort zone that we've created from our past experiences, the environment we've grown up in, and that's where we are. Now, our dreams and aspirations lie way outside the box, right? And here's something that was written on the pyramids, on the wall of pyramids 3,000 years ago. It says this simply: know yourself. Never look yourself in the world, for this would be to project your illusion. It was on the Karnak temple, which means what is within you is also within somebody else. If you're trying to sort of say, wonder who you are by looking at the external circumstances and the external world, you'll never find yourself, and you'll never be able to find or help anybody else find their potential. So never project yourself onto somebody else as to where you are at currently, but project where you could be in your own potential and understand that they have potential as well. 3,000 years ago, you really had to understand what this quote means. And so when we are helping somebody, what we want to do is we want to make sure that they hit the ball out of the park, right? When they hit the ball out of the park, that is when they are able to expand their box, the comfort zone, and stretch themselves. And that's when you are stretching yourself as well at the same time. And when you are stretching yourself and they are stretching themselves, there's growth, there's development. You start to create unprecedented outcomes, and that's when you create strong communities. When people get together and they engage in projects that are that stretch them, that's when you start to create strong communities. If there's no stretching and everybody's doing their own thing and what's in it only for me, nothing really happens ever. You have to understand that everybody can hit the ball out of the park, and that you can too hit the ball out of the park. That's when you create strong communities. So, ladies and gentlemen, be a beacon of light to your protege, to the people that you're mentoring, to people in the world, to the people that are in the Toastmasters. Light up their world. Okay? Be that beacon of light. And so to communicate, to connect, you have to have genuine interest in people, completely genuine interest as to who they are. You have their best interest at heart. They get that you care for them, that you'll do anything to make sure that they succeed. That's your internal stance. That's your internal position. And when you speak, it comes out through your words. And when you come from that place of listening to who they really are, which means below the cover, that's when you begin to really understand a human being. And when you begin to understand human beings, you can inspire them, because this is what leadership really is about. And how do I know? Because one of the top 5 leadership gurus on the planet is my mentor. And he lives just 5 kilometers up the road. He's a Canadian. He's written 21 books, and he consults with some of the top 100 Fortune 5 companies. And I asked him the other day, what is leadership? And he says, the leadership model is really broken. We really don't know what leadership is all about. But he says, if you are able to inspire people, perhaps in the new times that we live in, inspiration is leadership. Is to understand people, to sort of, they come from their own genuine, authentic selves. And you too as well. And that is leadership. And that's why we are here. To be able to uplift people, to inspire people, and to dare to care. That is the secret sauce, ladies and gentlemen. And therefore, what happens to this wall here is that you break down the walls and you begin to connect profoundly with people, and you create a high-performing community. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to challenge you today to tell me, how many people did you connect with this week in the club? How many people do you really know in this club? You would have seen that this week I sent each and every one of you, hi, hope everything is okay. Hope all is well. That's all I said, right? And I sent it to everyone. And you wondered why Brahm is saying hello, but that was it. I was connecting with you. So my challenge to you is connect with one person that you don't know in the club, because we want to create a strong community. And that is the secret sauce of success today, tomorrow, and forever, not only in this club, anywhere, in whatever role that you're playing. With that, back to you, Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Brahm. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big round of applause. And let's take a 1 minute to give a feedback on the presentation what Brahm gave. You can give the feedback personally to Brahm on the chat. So I will keep quiet for 1 minute. Take your time. What did you like about the speech and where you felt it can be improved? Just give a feedback to Brahm. And while you are doing that, I will show something like what you said, what we can do in pathways. So please, you keep doing your things and I will keep showing what I want to show. Just a second. Thank you. So hope most of you might have given the feedback, but if you have not, just write it down. At the end of the meeting, I will show you how to give feedback in pathways so that most of us are advanced Toastmasters. We should be able to do that now. And that is one thing we can take away from this club. And I'll make sure that, like what you say, we all are very proficient in pathways in the coming meetings. So the next role is for the speeches will be coming up right now. And before calling on the first speaker, let me call upon the evaluator of the speaker one, Toastmaster Ron, to read out the purpose statement.
Well, thank you very much. And it's a pleasure for me to evaluate the charismatic Tony today, who's just going to wow us, I know. And I've set high standards for Tony today, just to put a little pressure on. Today, Tony is going to speak to us, and his purpose of the project was to practice writing and delivering a speech that inspires others. And the purpose of this particular speech is for us to stand up and applause and be inspired by the audience by using all the tools that you need to do that. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Ron, for that. Please help me welcome Toastmaster Tony. Toastmaster Tony, just a few words can make a big difference. Just a few words can make a big difference. Toastmaster Tony.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters. As a little boy, I loved reading books of adventure and history about people who made a big difference in our world. You know, Abraham Lincoln, you know, he lost his first 19 elections. And Florence Nightingale, how she brought in nursing and introduced more women into the medical field. And Albert Einstein, you know, and all kinds of others. And often I would sit in the school library during lunch, reading these books, you know, about great people's stories. And the other kids are playing outside. Now, of all the stories I've read over 60 years, a few really stuck out for me, such as the poem Evangeline, written by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow in 1847. And Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe in 1852, which was against slavery, and it was a primary cause of the American Civil War. That book was the second best-selling book in the 19th century in Western civilization, just after the Bible. But you know, both these people stories, you know, they had powerful impact upon Western society. But they were fictional people, you know, like make-believe people that were made into real people that were truly inspiration, but fictional. The story I want to share today is defied fiction. It's defied fate, and it defied believability. It's a true story that happened 1700 years ago. It's about one person who said a few words that made a big difference. Millions of lives were saved. Now, how do those few words save his world? How does that apply to you and me? And how's that relevant to us at Leadership Speak? Very, you know, thoughtful questions. The man's name is Leo, and he lived in Italy. Leo was the Pope, right there, of the Catholic Church. The year was 452 AD. Attila the Hun, that guy there, invaded Italy with a large, fast-moving army. Now, you could Google this. Attila had branded himself, he was a ruthless killer. He branded himself as the scourge of God, and he wanted to destroy the Catholic Church, Rome, and all of its citizens. Every Italian, he wanted to kill them all. And the Huns butchered and burnt everybody and everything along their way. They got to the city of Rome, and it's 1 million people. The city was absolutely defenseless, no army. And Attila now was about to achieve his dream by destroying the city of Rome and all of its people. And he would continue on down south to kill everything else. Well, all of a sudden, the gates of Rome opened, and a few churchmen rode out to face the Huns, just a few. Their leader was Pope Leo. Now, he's the man of God, according, to the church, riding out to meet the scourge of God, according to Attila. What a historic moment. What a story. Wow. Attila listened to what Leo had to say. Then he took his army, turned around, and went home. Why? Why? Asked his warriors. We're here. Why are you doing this? Why are we going back? Attila, apparently, Attila said to his soldiers, I can fight the lion, but I cannot fight the Leo. Now, Leo is lion in Latin. So I could fight the lion, but I cannot fight the Leo, which is, of course, a man, a person, a human being. And Attila never left home again. And historians say he was the most ruthless killer in that age. Now, Leo, what words could Leo have used? He could not bribe it, because Attila had everything. He could not scare Attila. Not a chance. And he couldn't promise him anything because Attila would just take everything anyway. Attila saved Rome, Italy, all of the people there with words, just words, a few words. So what did he say? What made Attila go back home? No one knows. History did not record the words. And this is one of my enjoyments of reading these stories, because now I could actually come up with a solution, an answer, and no one could say I'm wrong. So I have my own interpretation. Now, your guess is good as mine, but I've had 60 years to think about it, and I'm still thinking about it. I'm going to share my interpretation of what Leo said to Attila. I believe Attila was very impressed with Leo, the person, his charisma, absolutely his charisma, and his sincerity, and his integrity. And I think Leo said something like this to Attila. Oh, you can lead your people in war, but can you lead them in peace? Until you do so, you can never claim to be a true leader to your people, or something to that effect. I believe that's what he said. And I believe that struck a message into Attila deeper than any sword or spear could have. How does that apply to you and me? Well, we can say a few words, to people. We can deliver the right messages at the right time. And like Leo, with sincerity and integrity. Now, we won't save the world. We may improve it. And we have our own people stories. At Leadership Speak, we get to practice speaking and listening skills. We get to exercise our self-driven leadership. We can help each other communicate better and better. So let us embrace and enjoy our Toastmaster journey together with our stories. Thank you, Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Tony. Thank you very much. 1 minute for the feedback. Please put your feedback on the private chat to Toastmaster Tony, and we'll maintain 1 minute silence. Thank you. So now let's call upon a second evaluator who will be introducing the speaker. The second evaluator is our in-house James Bond, Toastmaster Granny.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Dinesh Sharma, and he is going to be presenting us a project that is, the purpose of the project is to learn or review basic methods of writing a speech with a defined purpose and to present a well-organized speech on any topic. He has decided, well, he's busy working through engaging with humor, and he's decided to make this particular project be defining purpose of my life. So he's going to focus on himself. And with that, back to you, Mr. Toastmaster. He has given me other things to look at that is broader in perspective, but it's quite a list. Not really time to do that now. And I will be responding to that during my feedback. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Appreciate that, Granny. Toastmaster Dinesh, defining purpose of my life. Defining purpose of my life, Toastmaster Dinesh. Over to you.
What's the purpose of my life? Good morning, Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. When I started writing about this speech, I asked myself, what's the purpose of my life? We all have one life and 24 hours in a day. Then how come some people, like Tony said, Albert Einstein, Abraham Lincoln, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, all these people are able to do so much and leave a legacy behind for the generations to follow? Then I started researching about this topic and came up with a quote, and it says, define your purpose of life. And it then said, if you can't define your purpose, then see what you're passionate about, because your passion will then help you define your purpose in the life. Like that, interesting. This was very interesting. Then I started researching more about it too, and to started looking at my life to see if there is a certain pattern in my life of the different events that have happened in my life. I'm going to share with you a couple of events that have happened in my life, okay? When I was in grade 5 or grade 6, one day my mom gave me some money to say, go and buy food for the family to eat. I went to the market, picked up the food, but then there were some hungry kids that were sitting there. So rather than bringing the food home, I distributed the foods to them. Came home, my mom asked me, where is the food? And I told my mom, Mom, I distributed the foods to those hungry kids because, Mom, sharing is caring. And my mom gave me a big slap under my ear and said, Nikamma na ho to. In English that becomes, so the guy's lost his mind. Okay, came home. Okay, moved on. When I was in grade 10, okay, I formed a study group so that all the classmates can study together and pass. Result came. Everybody passed. I failed. My father asked me, what were you doing? And I said, I was helping other people to succeed. My father wasn't very happy because I was the first one in the family who has failed in a high school exam. What my father did, he picked up the nearest stick that he could find and gave me a bit of his mind for next 1 hour time. I can still show you the bruises that I got it in 1980. Okay. Came to Canada in 2002. And one of the things that I realized when I came here in Canada, that there was no such organized system that was available to provide the newcomers on how to integrate into the Canadian culture. You had to sink and swim all by yourself. So what I did is I needed to succeed in Canada, but not only for myself, but for the other people. What I did is I created a pool of mentors, 5, 6 professionally settled Canadians, and I asked them to help me develop myself, learn myself. But I didn't stop there. Okay, whatever I would learn from them, I would then connect with the other newcomers in the community, international students, newcomers, and I would share those learnings with those individuals also. So help them succeed or help them settle down in Canada. While my other siblings or other friends, those who came at the same time, somebody was preparing to become a real estate agent, mortgage agent, lawyer, so that they all could arrange a better living for their family. I used to spend about 15 to 20 hours in a week doing this activity of helping others succeed, to a point that one day my wife became very frustrated with this style of working, and she says, I'm going to leave you because you're not concentrating on your family development, you're concentrating on your other people development. But then I learned that day, those who love you will never leave you. Even if there are 100 reasons for them to leave you, they will still find one reason to stick around with you. So we are still happily married after 27 years. The major transformation came in my life as in 2020 when COVID hit and 3 million Canadians lost a job. What I realized was the immigrant community or the newcomer community of Canada was the one that was largely impacted by the job losses. So what we did is, with a group of like-minded people, we started organizing the professional development events to help all these immigrants or newcomers become professionally able to be in the job market again. And we created an organization called Brilliant Minds Group. Okay, it's been 2 years that we have been organizing these professional development events, and we started getting a little bit of a visibility in the Canadian market so far. So when I look back all these events that have happened in my life, then I sit down and I reflect on myself. And I think I have found the purpose of my life. And the purpose of my life is, let's assist others reach their potential by navigating and making the process easier for them. Become a solution-oriented professional. That's what I think is now the purpose of my life is, or our life is. And one thing that I believe, I could not have achieved all that without the support of my wife, my family, and my near and dear, because as Brahm said, we are now building a community of like-minded people to help others succeed. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dinesh. Thank you very much. 1 minute silence for the feedback. Please share your feedback in the private chat to our speaker, Dinesh. Thank you. I see most of you have done typing. Thank you very much. I would invite our timer Luz to share the timing for the speakers.
I have to speak the time, the times, right? Or just
Yeah,
send
for
it
the
to-
speakers,
the
for the
message?
leadership speak and the two speakers.
Okay, yeah. For the first speaker, leadership speaker is Brahm. Is 16 minutes, 1 second. For the first speaker, Tony, 8 minutes, 4 seconds. And for the second speaker, Dinesh Sharma, 7 minutes with 5 seconds.
Okay, so a big round of applause for all of them, but I would require the intervention of our president for this because I believe two speakers have exceeded time. Brent, I think Brahm, it was 12, 10, 12, and 15, and our grace is 30 seconds.
We're
And
not
the
under it.
second
We're not under
speaker-
official. We're not under official contest rules. But no,
So great. So we can vote for three of them, right?
we certainly can.
Okay. As the leadership speak was also from Pathways, it would be considered as a project speech. So please vote and show your mandate towards the speaker and to select the best speaker. So the poll would be up, I believe. Just let me check.
The leadership speaker is not on the poll. So if you give me a second, I'll put that on and then you can vote. So
Yes. So
just give me a second. You can
Bram
mention
will
it
take
and
just
then-
few seconds. Yes, and I believe now it's a 5 minutes break after this section on the agenda. So we'll reduce it to 3 minutes, take a bio break. We call it bio break. Just go quickly and
Okay, it's
come
done.
back, but don't go now. Yeah.
The poll is ready.
Yes, so Bram will publish the poll. 3, 2, and 2.5. Yes, and it's there. So please vote for your best speaker. Done. So we can stop the poll. So based on, I will announce the best speaker as like what is a ritual going on in our club. Being an advanced club, we don't wait it till the end. The best speaker for today is Toastmaster Brahm Memone. Let's give a big round of applause. And let's take a quick bio break for 3 minutes and get back in my time over here is 6:32. So over there, whatever is the time in 3 minutes, please come back. Yes, and people who want to stay back and tell their stories, you're my okay issue. Okay.
So it's not me, it's you.
Luz, how can we
I
help
always
you?
want to say that.
Okay, my question is
I
for
see
the-
you.
My
Go ahead,
question is my question is for the time for the evaluators. How much time for the evaluators?
2 minutes green, 2 minutes 30-second yellow, amber, whatever you call that light, and 3 minutes red.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think the official color is saffron.
Oh,
Just
I like it. That's
We we
advanced.
we have some other guests here. Let's see if they are around. I can see them, like Banu Dabadi. Are you there, Banu? Good to see you. And then we have Glenis D'Souza. Hi, Glenis. Hi, Banu Dabadi. How are you?
Hi, everyone. I've been part of this club. I've joined in various other meetings that you have had. I'm a part of 3 districts, District 41 in India, District 103 in Chicago, and Founders Districts where Fuse also comes from. We are part of Smedley
Fuse,
Chapter
all right.
1. So I'm so happy to join you. I missed earlier part of the meeting, but it's great.
No worries.
Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome. And Himanshu,
Welcome,
thank you for
Himanshu.
joining, Himanshu. And I've been talking to Himanshu on WhatsApp. And at the end, we will talk a bit more, Himanshu, but welcome.
Thank you so much, Brahm. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Then, of course, my good friends from District 86, Glenis and Ram Lakhanpal are here. It's so great to see them.
Good morning, Brahm and everybody else.
Over to you, Vinod. All yours.
Thank you very much. And it's 6:35 over here. And I believe it would be 10:35 over there in the morning in Canada, right? Okay. So I believe most of you had that luxurious 3 minutes break. And let me call upon our next role player. And this is something which I like the most in the Toastmasters, fraternity, the table topic speech, because the most prepared person ever is the topic master. So please put your hands together to our charismatic president, Toastmaster Brand, the table topic master of the day. Over to you, President and table topic master.
Thank you very much, Vinod. I, like our Toastmaster of the day, Vinod, really believe that storytelling is an art that can be extraordinarily important to being an effective leader. Really, at the end of the day, being able to tell stories more effectively was one of the key reasons I joined Toastmasters 2 years ago. I had lots of experience doing public speaking, but what I really wanted was an environment that could allow me to practice more effective storytelling. And it is one of the most essential skills, whether you're in a sales role, a marketing role, or just leading people in pretty much any environment. The ability to tell stories or relate and create an analogy to something that you're trying to communicate is such an effective means by which to communicate a message and create that connection with people that Brahm talked about. That said, our table topics today will be based on storytelling. And one of the companies, and Vinod mentioned this actually in his introduction, one of the companies that have done such an effective job of storytelling in recent years is Pixar. For anybody that lives on the planet has likely seen a Pixar movie. They are responsible for some of the most successful movies that have been produced in the last 20 years. And the means by which they have been able to accomplish that is through following a simple storytelling arc. Now, for their story writers, there's a very detailed formula that they follow, but they do follow a simple logic of 7 points to their storytelling arc. That storytelling arc begins with, once upon a time there was, every day that character did this, then one day something happened, and because of that, and then because of that, until finally, and ever since then. So today, I'm going to present our volunteers for table topics with the opening line, the once upon a time, and I'll let our guests build a story from there. I'll do a really super quick example that I came up with this morning, so maybe I have an advantage, but this one doesn't count as table topics. Once upon a time, there was a charismatic line cook at a burger restaurant. Ray. Every day, Ray made his burgers. Burger patty, ketchup, mustard, burger patty, ketchup, mustard, burger patty, ketchup, mustard, burger patty, ketchup, mustard. Then one day, the mustard supply ran out. There was no more mustard. There was no mustard to be had anywhere. And because of that, customers started complaining. In fact, one customer took his burger and threw it at Ray because he hated how it tasted without the mustard. And because of that, Ray started experimenting with different condiments, different vegetables. He even tried fruits. He started trying everything until finally, as he was looking through the storeroom, he noticed that there was this large supply of Russian dressing for the salads that the restaurant never sold. And he tried putting that Russian dressing on those burgers. And ever since then, Ray's burgers were served with that special sauce that eventually became the Big Mac. Now, that's a made-up story that I made up this morning, but an example of table topics and how I would like you to move forward with creating a story on the fly using the Pixar storytelling arc. To kick us off, I'd love to have a volunteer. Of course, I can pick on people, but if somebody would like to volunteer to be the first to go. And if I don't get a volunteer, I'm going to pick on somebody who has not had a chance to speak today.
I'll start.
All right, Nazim.
Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests.
Sorry, Nazim, I was just going to kick you off here. To help get you started, I was going, unless you had a story, your story was going to start with, once upon a time, there was a salesman named Dwight.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. Once upon a time, there was a salesman named White. Every day, he would go to his sales office. He was not the sales manager, but because the sales manager was always late, he would take over and begin to converse with the sales rep so they can teach them lessons of selling. One day, the sales manager said, "Why are you doing my job?" He said, "Because you are not here, you're not present. I must teach the sales technique first. And finally," do I have to continue the story? Do I have to continue?
You don't have to do anything, Nazim.
Okay. Next.
Awesome. All right. I did not see any additional guests volunteer. If you don't, Himanshu, perfect.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, there was an accountant named Angela.
Once upon a time, there was an accountant named Angela. Every day, she was working day and night, working very hard, trying to find herself making the comfortable day. But one day she realized it is not sustainable. Working hard every day and not realizing what this can do to herself on her mental health. Working hard every day, not realizing or not taking break, what can this do to herself, right? And she realized that she needs some time off. She needs a break. You can't just drive on 100 miles per hour and don't fuel your car. You need to have a break to fuel your car. And this is when she realized that I need to fuel myself so that I can contribute to the world. And until finally she read about this awesome book called The 5 a.m. Club and realized how a world-class morning routine can change her life, how she can own her morning and elevate her life. She made this world-class routine of following this 20 minutes, 3 cycles of 20 minutes of meditating or sweating in intense workout. Second 20 minutes to reflect upon what she is doing with her life, and another 20 minutes to grow, to do what she likes the most. And ever since then, she is leading a great life, which is helping her contribute to the world. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Himanshu. Fabiola, I think you had your hand up.
Yes.
Perfect. Once upon a time, there was an office manager named Michael.
Once upon a time, there was an office manager named Michael, a very charismatic gentleman. Every day, he would come to the office very happy. And he would connect with each and everyone. This every single day. As he was walking up, going towards his office, noticed that he was not the same charismatic manager we always see. He had a lot on his mind. And saw him throughout the day, working as every day. But still, there was something going on. Until we realized that he was going through a very hard time in his life. But still, he would great office manager he was, and showing us what a leader can be. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Fabiola. Fabiola, one thing I'll just let you know, your audio was a little difficult for us to pick up today. Your microphone may have needed some adjustments. I didn't want to interrupt your storytelling, just wanted to let you know for future meetings. Volunteers going once, twice. Glynis, would you like to volunteer?
Thank you very much, Brent. My internet is a little choppy too. That's why I was a little hesitant, but sure.
You sound fantastic. Once upon a time, there was an HR rep named Toby.
Okay. Once upon a time, there was an HR rep named Toby. Toby just got his HR qualifications, and so he was very eager to be doing his job. It was a new job. So every day he went in there and did the things that he learned in school to do. He talked to people. He was an HR rep. So of course his job was to get staff for the organization. And so he kept making his calls. Every day he did the same thing over and over again, but somehow Toby was not successful at hiring even one person. And so he was so frustrated. And so one day he decided to go on this seminar by Tony Bratschitsch. I know it's Tony Robbins usually, but Tony Bratschitsch had this wonderful workshop for HR reps, especially to teach them how to connect with people and how to really have that secret sauce. So that was what he did one day. And because of that, Toby started hiring people left, right, and center. Oh my goodness me, his phone wouldn't stop ringing. And the salary and the package that he was offering, it was like fish, jumping at the bait. People just kept grabbing what he was offering them. So because of that, Toby achieved the top HR rep in his organization. Until finally, he was promoted to be the head of the department, the director of the HR department. And ever since then, Toby has been recommending this fabulous workshop, not by Tony Robbins, not by John Maxwell, but by Tony Bratschitsch. And if you want to really be fabulous in your job, you come here to Leadership Speak and you enroll in that course by Tony Bratschitsch. Back to you, Brent.
Wonderful, Glynis. That was fantastic. Great job.
Thank you.
Mr. Toastmaster, are we good on time for a couple more, or I just want to...
We can take one more. We can take one more.
Okay, perfect. Volunteer or voluntel? Banu or Ram as guests, or Elka, would love to have you participate.
Brent, since you took my name, I'm okay.
All right, Banu. Once upon a time, there was a bookkeeper named Kevin.
Once upon a time, there was a bookkeeper named Kevin, a tall guy, well-built person, had hair on his head, black hair. He used to comb it so well and dress so well. And he, as a bookkeeper, he used to open his bookstore early in the morning. He allowed people to come to the bookstore and turn the pages. Each pages that the people turn, he always went to those readers and said, yes, this book has got a story. These black letters that you see printed in the books, they don't tell you the story. Every day when he spoke to these readers, one day he suddenly found a very shabbily dressed boy who walked into the bookstore and picked up a storybook. He was shaking. And therefore Kevin went to his and said, boy, do you need help? And the boy very strangely looked at the Kevin and said, why do you think I need help? And Kevin said, boy, I can see your eyes so inquisitive, trying to look at some story in the book, and I may probably help you to find the right place where you can. And because you have got a very unique kind of gaze looking at the books, I probably can help you locate the story. And until finally that the boy gave him the consent to help him find the right page, that this boy was looking for a story to prepare for his school. He had to make a presentation of a wonderful story that the class teacher had asked him. And this boy did not have enough books in the house, so he had to walk into the bookstore. And the moment Kevin helped the boy to find that wonderful story of the dinosaur, how dinosaur extinct, were away, they were put out from because they could not adapt to the change. And this was a story, and the boy picked up, and ever since he learned that this bookkeeper Kevin was so helpful, this boy kept coming to the bookstore, and today Kevin is a learned man teaching other helpless people to read the books. Over to you, Brent.
Well done. Excellent. On that note, if I could ask one of our hosts to launch the poll. Vinod has listed the order of the speakers in the group chat. And special points for the first person to put in the chat where I got the names of the characters for the table topics. Where did I get them?
From The Office, by any chance?
Yeah, there you go, Peggy. Well done. All right.
Where from? Can you repeat that? Where? From where?
Sorry, what was that?
Number one sitcom of all time.
Ah, okay, yeah.
And Mr. Toastmaster, I will throw the meeting back to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Brent, for this, I would say, a very innovative approach to table topics. Please, let's give a big round of applause to our table topic master and our president. I learned this 6 years ago in my improv class, where we use this. And honestly, Brent, I was supposed to I had planned to use this in the opening of my speech. Good that I didn't use this. Or we would have been in a big issue. Oh my God. Thank you. But this was really very innovative. Thank you very much. And everybody attempted it in a very nice way. As we have done the voting and we assume that everybody is qualified, so I am not calling for the timer. Our timer has dedicatedly noted down the time. We will segue into our next session. I had to forego a lot of stories, but I will tell a story to move into this section, because this story is very close to me and has moved me about the skills of communication. It's not what you say, it's about how you say. Once there was an old man. He had a big beard. He used to wear the saffron cloth, and he used to have this big bag. Wherever he used to go in the village, everybody used to give him a lot of things, rice, wheat, and he was always full. On the other side, there was this beautiful lady. Whenever she entered anybody's house, they used to close it immediately, shut the door, get away, get away. Nobody used to like her in the village. One day, this lady gets irritated. She goes to this old man and asks, "Hey man, whenever you go, everybody is accepting you. Who are you?" The old man says, "My name is Story." The old man asks the lady, "What is your name?" The lady says, "I am Truth." The old man says, "People don't like to listen to truth." She says, "I will show them now." She removes her cloth and goes like that. Still, nobody gives her anything. The old man laughs and says, "Now you are just a naked truth." And people don't like that also. But the old man had the wisdom that people need to listen to the truth. So he invites her. "Let's come. You come to me. I have enough space in my home and enough food for both of us. If we both stay together, we can make a greater impact in this world." And it is said that from that day, Story and Truth stay together. And you can see that in the section of Toastmasters evaluation, which will be headed by our next general evaluator for the day, Toastmaster Furse. Toastmaster Furse, the screen is all yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vinod. It is my pleasure to lead the third part of our meeting, where we do some evaluations. This is, of course, an incredible opportunity to learn and move forward as speakers and as Toastmasters in general. Moving to our first individual evaluator, we go to Peggy Unlock. Peggy will be evaluating Brahm Memone. Peggy?
Thank you very much, Furzy. So, and fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests, and most of all, Brahm. You have absolutely mastered the technology of Zoom and do a really great job of presenting to us with a background that we can see really well. So I wanted to commend you on that, first of all. Now, your opening, you told us we were going to gain one skill from your presentation. So that right off the bat intrigued me. So I thought, how is he going to narrow this down only to one skill? But I think that skill you told us about was how to connect. So that is a skill in itself that takes an awful lot behind it to do that well. So thank you for that. One of the things I would suggest, some of the words you used were, some of it is me as well, because I tend to get triggered by words sometimes. So some of them I thought you could have had a more appropriate word. And the one in particular, when you were telling us that we should serve with eminence, because the word eminence to me always portrays whether it's royalty or a very high religious position. And I thought, whoa, that's I just think there could have been a better word than that, but the thoughts behind it were absolutely amazing. And you used a lot of alliteration as well, and that was really effective. Whether it's connect, collaborate, create, community, that really put those words into my mind, and I think it was very effective to do that. Now, the one other phrase that really got to me too, and again, this is my own bias, when you tended to flip around the meaning that I would have put to the word, where you said we tend to harp on weaknesses more than we trump on up strengths. So I think that's true to a point, but just the choice of words around that, every time I hear the word trump now, my blood pressure goes up. That's nothing to do with your speech, but it's just something in my mind that really, it affects me a lot. So I would mention that. And I'm not sure I agree with you when you said we tended to diminish people when we first meet them. I think there are people who do that. But I think as Toastmasters as well, we do tend to give people the benefit of the doubt and really look for their strengths. So if it's to a Toastmasters meeting, I would maybe just qualify that a little bit more, because in some situations, I think we do diminish people or we do judge them. But I think if you maybe word that a little bit different, that it won't put your audience in a position where they're sitting here saying, hey, I don't think I do that, where some of them might, but just be a little more gentle with that. Your presentation was wonderful. The way you talk is very conversational, and I find that you're very easy to listen to. So thank you for doing that. And you have very deep conversations as well. So I think that is so important, especially in the climate of the world today. It's just so important that we can open up, look outside the box, and accept everybody for who they are, rather than perhaps where they're from or their gender, things like that. It's just so important to look more at the person, and your message brought that across very clearly. So thank you again very much for a wonderful presentation. And I would be more than happy to send something in writing if you want to do that. And I will even try and do that in Pathways. So back to you, General Evaluator Furzy.
Nice job. Thank you, Toastmaster Peggy. Peggy, I appreciated your analytical skills, picking up on some of the big pieces like his technology, all the way down to the details like imminence and his use of alliteration. Well done on that. I also appreciate, and I encourage everyone to be as honest as we can. This is how our evaluations get better. And here's Brahm Memone, founder of the club, and you said, I'm not sure I agree with you. Not easy to do. Not easy to do. And I appreciate the fact that you went, here it is, the truth. Thank you, Peggy, for that. Then you came back with conversational and thanked him for that. And then you talked about in the climate of today's world. Very nice. The only thing I'm going to ask you to do is really my fault, Peggy. And that is, I asked all the other evaluators to speak with the speakers and ask them what their goals are outside of Toastmasters to see if we can keep moving speakers forward in that way. That's on me because I didn't ask you to do that. But if you'd like to do that in the future, I think it's a good step forward. Thank you, Peggy. Going on to our second evaluator, Ron, evaluating Tony. Ron?
Yes, thank you very much. And it's my pleasure to evaluate the very charismatic Tony, who came to us with the objective of not only being charismatic, but being relative and having great information. Tony, you're very, very good at storytelling, which is a skill I think we all agree is very useful. And your stories are always very poignant and to the point and with a message. Stories are nice, but I need to come away with some sort of learning tip from it. And you always provide that. Now, for an experienced speaker like yourself, it can sometimes be hard to find things to improve upon. So I'm going to have a look at the things that I especially liked in your speech, then a couple of suggestions to up the ante a little bit and make it even more brilliant and charismatic. First of all, your gestures, your pace, your fluctuation in voice is right on, as if you practice it that way. And I like the structure of the speech, the opening, the body, the close, and it ends with a conclusion. Very effectively done. You expressed your opinion, and I think that's okay, because you clarified it by saying, from my point of view. And that leaves room for the audience to disagree or to agree, whichever they want to do. To improve, here's my challenge for you. And I'm speaking in general terms for many of us. During the virtual sessions, I think we've gotten a little lazy. Not you, Tony, of course, but in general, because most of us sit when we talk and do our speeches in the virtual setting. And this robs us of energy. So I would like to have seen you doing that, standing, where we could see more of your body. You could move around a little bit to make emphasis on certain points and inject that energy into your speech. I find that that comes naturally when I stand. I'm not even attempting to insert the energy. And I think that would make a big difference in your presentation, especially in storytelling, to have that motion, that action, and even more voice fluctuation comes out of that. The other thing I was looking for was the story being more relative to today. So what I would have welcomed was the story that you told, and then perhaps a present day situation where those same principles apply. The war in the Ukraine or something more relative to today. So example, how we apply it today in a current situation. I think that would have made a big difference there. So I'm going to challenge you, Tony, to continue to be charismatic. Do all those things. And for you and for everyone, let's always look for how we can up the ante just a little bit more and do something more than what we had planned to do. I'm looking forward to that energy level coming in. And that may even include, as I think of it, our attire. Not that you're dressed poorly, but if you look at Brahm, not myself today, maybe we do put on a suit jacket or something flashy. Let's pretend we're talking in front of 5,000 people and do it virtually exactly the same way we would if we were. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Ron. Fantastic evaluation. Also, great eye for detail. A lot of very nice positive strokes for Tony to build on. The idea that you told him, not just very good, but very, very good at storytelling. Everybody always likes a little bit of extra. So that was nice for you to give that to Tony. I like your phrase, great conversational tone, up the ante. Very nice. Good use of word of the day, charismatic. From my point of view, how you brought that out in Tony's speech robs us of energy. Thank you for bringing up the point of standing up, but more specifically, I liked your phrase of robs us of energy. And then you came back to that with inject that energy. Nice part of your evaluation. I really appreciated how you talked about applying it to today. I think that's a spot on thing. I thought you came up with a nice conclusion to your evaluation and ready to end it. And then you kept going. Go ahead and end it. Go ahead and end it. Leave us on a high note. Send a little note in the chat if you need to for the remainder, because you've got great rhythm. You just sort of didn't listen to your own rhythm that time. Thank you, Ron. Terrific job, Toastmaster Ron. Moving forward, Toastmaster 007. Bring it on. Evaluating Dinesh.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, and to you, Dinesh. Dinesh, I have also done this humor one, and although I love to laugh, I'm really terrible at telling jokes. And it was quite something for me to go through each and every project of this. I do perceive your natural nature is not to be a charismatic person. And that's fine. So how would we approach a non-charismatic person busy with humor? Let's go through let's go through what you asked me to have a look at. There were two aspects that you wanted me to have a look at. The first that I would like to mention is the part of whether you actually were able to bring across your purpose. You did that very well. You started off by just entering that process of how you looked at the project, discovered the discoveries you made, and how you thought to apply it, so that we could actually see the processing in your mind, and which led to then the few stories that you had. I would like to, while I'm talking about those stories, I'd like to recommend to you, you did bring in the personal stories, but I'd like to entice you with using the story to tell it like a story, where there is a moment of suspense. Give us that suspense. This is a wonderful moment for you to be able to learn to use the stories and grab people, because your stories actually had amazing, each one of them added value to you concluding with the whole, the picture as a whole. So that was brilliantly done. Now I would like to go, so that's as far as the content is concerned. You did ask about some level of humor in the speech, and yes, there was a statement you made that I found humorous, but I was busy writing, and then the pen didn't want to write. And by the time I got the pen to write, I forgot what the line was. So there was a line that I picked up. It was right at the beginning. So I'm sorry about that. But there could be more, and I'd like to encourage you with that. The last thing that I would like to just bring to you, and I would add all the others in my recommendation, is I want to physically just show you something. I would like to, you were sitting previously and you were encouraged to stand. And I'd like to just encourage you, yes, do stand, but be careful that you don't look at us down, but look at us at eye level. It just connects better. And with that, all the best for the next one. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Nice job, Granny. Thank you. Terrific evaluation. Lots of great feedback. You have a wonderful, and I'm not just using this word because it's the word of the day, you have a wonderful charisma. And when you employ it to giving evaluations, wow, it's smooth and sugary and allows you to get to some of those points that might be a little tougher to go down, but with that spoonful of sugar, you make it happen. Very nice. Natural nature. Nice phrasing. How would we approach? I like how you said that. You talked to him ahead of time, asked him what you should be looking for. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. It serves our speakers so well when our evaluators do that. Like, ooh, sorry, cat's going crazy. I like how you did that. Give us that suspense. Fantastic job performing that. You even said things like, encourage you. I want to encourage you. Those little words make all the difference in the world. And then, of course, you showed us the physical camera. Thank you, Granny. Terrific job on the evaluation. Moving forward with our agenda. Do I need to go to, I'm just flipping over to my other sheet while keeping my cat from knocking the computer over. Timer, do we have any times for our evaluators, please?
Do you want me to tell the evaluation? Okay, yes.
Yes, please. Thank you.
For Peggy, 3 minutes and 53 seconds. Ron, 3 minutes 53 53 seconds. And Granny, 3 minutes 19 seconds.
Fantastic. Thank you, Timer. And Timer, thank you for your work throughout the entire meeting. Hardest working person in any Toastmaster meeting, the Timer. Moving forward to our grammarians. We are now going to have the vote for best evaluator and table topic speeches. Is that right?
The table topic speeches were already done. So I would just announce the result, Fuse. The table topic, today there were 5 speakers. The winner is Glynis D'Souza. So a big round of applause to today's winner.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Wow.
Woo! And the voting for best evaluator. Please don't tell me I was supposed to do that. Oh, thank you. Just a few seconds to take care of that while I keep my cat from chewing on my computer. As soon as we're done with that, we will go with the grammarian's report. Everybody good? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Has anybody else ever wondered when did bubble become a verb, like bubble that in? Speaking of verbs, moving on to our grammarian, Shriyashi Karan. Your report, please.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. For word of the day, there are many people who use the word of the day. Charisma, as it's in the noun form, was used by Ron once and by Forse once. Vinod used it once, Granny B used it once, Fabola twice, Ron thrice, and that's the lot. To carry on with the grammarian's report, everybody was articulate and used very clean language. Sandy said, essence of the story. Vinod used, nothing is sold until a story is told. These are the good uses. Secret sauce of success by Brahm, and more to come. Ability to create unprecedented outcomes. Serve with eminence. I'm sorry, I used the word, I liked it very much. Become a beacon of light to your protege. To go on to a few grammatical mistakes. The meeting have to start on time, has to start on time. I'm not taking the names. If you want, I can send it to you privately on chat. Few really stuck out when he talked about his stories or something. I think stood out would have been a better use there. Foods used by a speaker. Food is the past tense actually. Sink and swim. One cannot sink and swim together. It's either sink or swim. Each pages people turned. Each page people turned. Dinosaur extinct. Dinosaurs are extinct or have been for years now. To go on over to the R counter report, I'll just take the names of people who I have anything to report on about. Vinod, R 5 times and once. Peggy once, R. Brahm, twice and R once. Granny B, R once. Dinesh has said okay twice. There's a repetition here. Brent used R once, and that is my report. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Way to go, Madam Grammarian. Boom, way to punctuate a meeting. Very well done. Very specific, great details. I'm going to have to turn in my essay to you to proofread before I turned it into my boss. I would appreciate that greatly. What a fantastic meeting we had today. What an absolutely fantastic meeting we had today. I'm going to look at my notes and tell you why it was fantastic. Long before the meeting actually started, you've got Brahm, Memone contacting us, warming us up, getting us connected. That sets the tone for an upcoming meeting. People getting into Easy Speak, signing up for roles. Yes, we had some drop and we had people slide right in. Fantastic. As we open the meeting, very friendly, great conversation. SAA chatted me up a little bit. Thank you very much. Nice toast, Mariana. World Health Day. Well done, madam. Vinod, a story from each person, developing that from each person, taking the time to hear what they had to do. Here we are working on our listening skills. Here we are connecting with each other throughout the meeting. That thread that weaves its way into the fabric of the meeting. And that's what gives our meeting such a rich texture, more than just any other meeting where we go through the routine. 13 of 20, 14 of 21, 14 of 22. Any idea what that number stands for, what those numbers stand for? That's the number of cameras that we had on. At first, it seems a little low because we're averaging around 2/3. But as I looked at other meetings going around the world, we're doing pretty well. And the people who are on camera are right there, listening intently. Again, not to overuse the word, but connecting. We are here. Remember, storytelling, it begins in front of a fire. One person speaking, the entire village listening. The entire village shows up to listen. We did that today. We showed up to listen. We showed up to hear, not just with our ears, but with our heart. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm seeing from us. Well done, club. Vinod checking in with the president. Hey, can we do this? Is this all right? We're going over time. We're okay. I appreciate that, Vinod. Very nice, making sure that things are done really well. At the end of our speeches, I looked and I gauged, we're averaging about 50% of the people clapping. I would have liked to see that number go up a little bit more. Can we support each other a little bit more in our applause? I think we can do that. And then the next step is to measure how long that applause is. I know that sounds incredibly nut job, but I actually did that once. You know that speech about statistics? Yeah, I did that. Brent standing in front of a background. Great job on the table topics. Nice structure. I like how you gave us those steps. It gave us a way to be successful in a brand new format. That's the part I appreciate. I mean, I love the format, but I really appreciate how you gave us the structure for that. Great job on asking guests to come in and speak. Our evaluators, I told you mostly what the things were that you did well. One thing I'd like for all our individual evaluators to try out is taking one moment and sharing that out with our whole audience, almost in a teaching moment. So if it's like you should stand up or you should use the camera in a particular way, you can direct that to the whole group. Just to connect again, just to bring in the whole group and take 15 to 20 seconds, let the group know we're not just talking to one person, but the whole group. Listeners, connectors, all very important parts of being leaders. I want to thank everybody for embodying those elements today as we went through our meeting. Of prime importance are timekeepers, grammarians. They are our best listeners. Absolutely fantastic job by those two roles. Let's give them a round of applause. Great job. Thank you both. fantastic details, great listening, accurate, and dedicated to the cause. Thank you. Overall, I enjoyed the meeting for those particular reasons. I don't want to just say that and think, we had a good meeting. I really didn't pay attention. No, love the meeting. Thank you all for contributing to the spirit of the group, our esprit de corps. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster, or are we going to Mr. President?
I'll take this up and then I'll give it to the president. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Furse. I think, I don't remember who said this, but a prominent person had said this: whatever gets rewarded gets repeated. So even though it's an advanced club, our GE has brought this to our attention, that every speech, every winner needs to be appreciated and felicitated. Thank you very much. With that, I will do one thing, that the evaluation, the best evaluator award for today goes to Toastmaster Granny. Let's give her a big round of applause. Thank you. So before signing off, I'll just take 2 more minutes. I had a lot of stories, but then I realized when I started that I would be going overtime. So I, like what you said, I had to skip 90% of that, but I like to say the last story. And before that, any story in the world usually follow this structure of character conflict resolution, or what you call as setback, setup, and solutions. You take some interesting characters, put them through some struggle, or if you have taken an individual protagonist, give him a want that he is not able to get. Then you have an antagonist who is keeping, like what you say, having obstacles for him. And during that struggle, the deeper the struggle, the sweeter the solution. Any movie in the world or any story follows the same pattern. But one story that I like, whenever somebody asks that, how come you can fix the world, or what can you do as a Toastmaster, as an individual? I'll tell this story and end the meeting and give it to our president. There was once a man who used to come home every day at 9 p.m. and read newspaper for 1 hour. That 1 hour was his own time, own space. So every day from 9 to 10 p.m. he used to read this newspaper. One day, while he was reading this newspaper, his son came, his 6-year-old son came running to him and said, "Dad, can you play with me?" And he gave him the dad look. "Can't you see I am busy?" But 6-year-old is a 6-year-old, right? "No, Dad, please play with me. Please play with me." So while he was reading that newspaper, he saw a world map on one page. What he did was, he tore that page and tore it into 6-7 different pieces and gave it to his son and said, "Son, this is your jigsaw puzzle. If you solve this, I will play with you." And then he again starts reading newspaper, thinking that, how will the son know where is US, where is India, where is Japan, where is China? It will take him at least 1 hour to fix the jigsaw puzzle. In 5 minutes, the son comes running, saying that, "Dad, everything is done. I have fixed the world map." The dad was shocked, lobotomized. He went and he saw the world map was fixed. And looking at the astonished face of his dad, the son says, "Dad, I know what you are thinking, that how I fix the world." He says, behind the picture, there was a picture of a man. I may not know where is US, Japan, or India, but I definitely know where is eyes, where is nose, where is lips. So I want to share that same message what the boy shared with his father that day. Fix the man, the world will automatically get fixed. And if we want to do something big in life or great in life, let's start by our own self and help our VP Education, help our president take the roles and make this meetings interesting. Over to you, President Brent. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you. A special thank to the timer, Luz, who was very meticulous and giving me, sending me messages. Thank you to all the role players. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Vinod. So first off, I just want to thank everybody for, of course, yet another wonderful meeting, but a special call out to both our Toastmaster of the day, Vinod. You came so substantially well prepared. The stories that you yourself interjected into the meeting were fantastic. Also exceptionally well delivered. Your concluding story, wonderful. And again, also superbly delivered, and you took a masterful control of the meeting throughout, and exceptional job. I also wanted to give a special recognition to Fercy, and we saw some of the comments in the chat. The structure that Fercy utilized in his general evaluation, providing the evaluators with an immediate post-evaluation evaluation, I thought was exceptionally well done, and a really good example for a structure of a general evaluation that I think would be very fitting for anyone who's taking the general evaluator role in the future. I think it was an exemplary structure and a lesson for all of us on how to provide a really good general evaluation of a meeting. So if there is, one major takeaway is that really well-established structure that I can think that we can learn from and use as an example for in our future general evaluations. So good, Fercy. Thank you very, very much. And on that note, I think we are right on time. And I just want to, of course, say thank you once again to all of our guests. I had posted in the chat on a couple of occasions a link to our guest book. If you can please hit that so that our VP of membership can follow up appropriately. And I wish everybody the best to the rest of their weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Before the guests leave, however, I'd like to ask them about how they found the meeting, if I may.
I'll go first. It was a beautiful meeting. Thank you so much. And really top quality. Learned a lot. Fabulous. Congratulations to your club. Great experience.
Thank you. I'd also like to welcome Françoise Bowen, brand new member, just became a member this week. So welcome, Françoise. That puts us to 28 members, 20 on charter, and 8 more members within in less than 2 months. So thank you. Now I'd like to also welcome Himanshu Jamb and your comments, Himanshu. I know you are from India. You want to move to Canada, I believe, and you want to join a club here. So how did you find us today?
So it was an impeccable meeting. I really liked the way to interact with all the stellar panel of highly acclaimed professionals. You were all astonishingly radiant, vibrant. I really liked the meeting format. I have taken so many takeaways and learnings, some of them being the way you appreciate or recommend when someone uses the word of the day. It is a really good way to express your commendations. I took that away. And other takeaway was the learning from GE format he took today. Like right after the evaluation, right after they speak, he gave the wonderful evaluation. Right out of the burner when they speak, they can get to ponder upon. So that was amazing. One recommendation that if we could have guest introduction in the beginning so that there is a sense of belongingness. That is the only recommendation from my end, but it was an amazing meeting.
Thank you, Himanshu, and we will take that to heart. Based on what you've seen, would you like to sort of proceed with your membership, or would you like to talk to me later?
Sure, definitely.
Sure, we can do that. Absolutely. Great. Thank you. And we have Elka Price. Are you there, Elka? It'd be good to hear from you. Okay. While she's looking at her sound there, Banu Dabari, how did you find our meeting today?
Brahm, I'm so thrilled by the way the meeting runs, so much of learning. I've thoroughly enjoyed and happy to have participated in table topic, such a wonderful format that I saw, how table topic can be run through. And yes, I'm also mesmerized by Fuse's general evaluations, and that's something that I'm also taking away for my future meetings. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ban. And last but not least, I believe it's our friend, perpetual friend, forever friend, Nazim Mohammed.
Well, thank you so much, Brahm, for giving me the opportunity. But the meeting after the meeting is always the most important meeting. today, the evaluation after the evaluation was the most important evaluation. This is the event that have me coming back and wanting more and more and more. And Percy, is it Percy? Sorry. Percy was exemplary in pinpointing some of the areas that need emphasis, emphasize it very well, and highlight it. And that is what my feedback is today. So I'm really appreciative of the fact that the club is focused on the right direction as you are directing the club on leadership skills. And that's my takeaway.
Oh, thank you. You're so generous, Nazim. You're not almost, but you are very charismatic.
Well, thank you, because I follow you. I try to emulate you.
All right. Butter is getting cheap, I know.
I have to say, well, if I could take a second, because Peggy highlighted something that you said about prejudging people. There's a book called You Are Not Your Brain. And I've been researching for the last 5 years. And we do have biases, prejudices, our own opinion, and so on and so forth. And it's a book that will give you 4 simple steps how to correct that. And she was absolutely true, because when we see people, our tendency is to prejudge them. I agree with you partially, but we have to use the word correctly, in that we might be prejudging people most of the time. And it's nothing but the truth, according to this book, because they are prejudices, they are biases that we have been so accustomed to all our life. Sorry about the length. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. And I'm sure some people will find that book very useful. I would also like to ask Françoise, I mean, how, as a new member, she's finding this meeting. If she's still around, I can see her on the screen there. Françoise.
Hi, Françoise. I'm well, thank you. And sorry, I'm not able to use my camera. Internet instability today. I really found the meeting very interesting. The evaluation by the evaluator, that one was my biggest takeaway. And I've taken some notes. The table topic also was one that gave me that aha. And I'm like, oh, wow, this was really a good way of how you can structure your sentence as well too, even though you're thinking impromptu on your feet. And I'm looking forward to continue to grow with you, Leadership Speak. Thank you.
We look forward to it. Well, Mr. President, that was what I would have wanted to do. So I hope that's
good catch,
right.
Brahm. Good catch. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. On that note, I think we can officially adjourn our meeting. Anybody's welcome to stick around for a few minutes if they wish.
And connect.
I think we can probably stop the recording though.
Goodbye.